There's another way that we can talk about the black keys on the piano keyboard. And to investigate that, let's go back to that black key we were looking at before, that black key that sits right between C and D, right here. In the previous video, we called that note C sharp. There's another way we can talk about that note, and remember C sharp said, think about that black note as the black note that is directly above, or 1/2 step above, the note C. We can also think about that black key in relationship to D. So we can think about that black key also as the black key that is 1/2 step below D. And if we do that, we're going to call the black key D flat. D flat. But again, we don't usually write that out in words. We usually use the musical symbol for flat. That looks like this. It looks a little bit like a lowercase b, but it's not quite a lowercase b. So if I want to write that on my treble clef staff, I would go over here. I'm going to write the note head for D right here. And then I'm going to write a flat symbol just to the left, or right in front of the D, like this. And that's going to tell me to play the black key that is directly below D. So if I play D, that flat symbol tells me to lower that note by 1/2 step, and to play the black key that is right below the D, D flat. Now again, just like to be very, very precise about what this means, that flat symbol says lower or play the note that is 1/2 step below the note that is written. And that wording is very, very precise. So for instance, if I give you a note on the G note head right here, or the G line right here, and then I put that flat symbol in front of it, that says play G flat. So let's figure out what that is. Well, here's G right here. That flat symbol means lower that G, or play the note that is 1/2 step below G right here. So that would land us on the black key right here. Same thing with A flat. Let's do an A. Let's put the flat symbol in front of it. That's a better looking flat symbol. So that means A flat. So here's the A on the piano keyboard. If I go 1/2 step below, which is what the flat tells me to do, then this note right here ends up being A flat. Fill this in too. This was G flat, and this was D flat. And again, notice that we say, even though the flat symbol comes first, the flat symbol always goes to the left. We call it D flat, or G flat, or A flat. We don't call it flat G, or flat A, or flat D. But just like with the sharp symbol, sometimes this leads to an interesting situation. Let me write one of these interesting situations again for you. Sort of the inverse of what we saw with B sharp. Suppose I were to write a C up here on the third space, like this, and I were to put a flat symbol in front of that C. So we have C flat. So here's our C up here on the piano keyboard. That flat symbol means play the note, or lower that note by 1/2 step. Well, if I lower that note by 1/2 step, that leaves me on B. So here's C, here's B. So this is an example where the flat symbol brings us from one white key to another white key. C flat and B turn out to be exactly the same note. And you may again say, well, isn't it just easier if we want to hear this note? Can't we just write that note? as B? Isn't that a lot easier than writing C flat? And the answer is, sure, a lot of the time it will be, but there will be cases where writing C flat is going to be the right thing to do, and even a very useful thing to do. And we'll see that later on when we talk about things like transposition.